My name is Heather Ward. I am 31 years old. I was first locked up in Chesterfield Juvenile Detention Home at the age of 14. I also spent my 15th and 16th birthday locked up in there as well. And I believe I was released before my 17th birthday. Um, so at the age of 14, I didn't have the best home life. Um, I didn't have the best family, um, you know. Um, so I was locked up for 2 counts of vandalism, 1 count of petty larceny, 1 count of grand larceny. I believe I spent a month, maybe a month and a half, in there my first time, um, and they didn't let me go home afterwards. I was walked out of the building and walked directly into the building next door, which is Chesterfield Youth Group Home. Chesterfield Youth Group Home, I believe, is a 3-month program. I spent 9 months in there. Um, I did have an escape charge that came, I believe, 6 months after I was there for running away. Um, I spent whatever time that I wasn't locked up on the run. Um, so I ended up going back to the detention home for that. I was released out of the group home, um, and ended up stealing cars, things of that nature, which landed me with a 3-year sentence over my head, upstate. I was 16 when I went back into Chesterfield Detention Home. And at the time, the Post D program was just being introduced. And I am very, very fortunate that right at that time it was being introduced. I was the first female to ever graduate from this program, um, at that detention home. And it wasn't easy. Nothing was easy about it. Um, but I did it. So basically, when I went to court, I had that 3-year sentence. They offered me a plea deal. I was already locked up for about 6 months, I believe, before I actually got a court date. And when I went there, they gave me the opportunity to be in Post D. They explained what it was going to be and how it was going to be like. And of course, I whined and I cried because I'm thinking this is just their way of keeping me locked up, when I didn't realize how beneficial it really was for me. And that they were giving me an opportunity to integrate back into society, without just being locked up for, a year and then being thrown out into all this freedom and stuff. Basically, they gave us, the opportunity to go to the library, to do volunteer work. Um, Towards the end, you get to go to school, you get to go, to work and things like that. So when I got out of the Post D program, which was the last time that I was ever locked up in Chesterfield Detention Home, it was like a normal routine. I was already in my routine. Um, I would just continue to go to school, continue to go to work, except for I wasn't going, back to lock up every night. So, um, I realized that I was approaching 18. And when you hit 18, you could catch a charge. And 10 years later, when you're trying to get an apartment and a job and things like that, you're denied for that charge that you caught at 18. Um, once you hit 18 and you're living this lifestyle and you catch charges and stuff, that stuff doesn't go away anymore. So at this point, you're very fortunate to be able to start over, and do different. And I wish at the time that, I had somebody like me to tell me the same thing. I was very fortunate to have the staff at the detention home that acted more as family than my own family did. And to this day, I still keep in touch with every single one of them. They believed in me when no one else did. When they saw me going down the wrong path, or, I didn't have a good visit, or, whatever the case may be, and I was ready to risk it all and ruin it all, they were the ones that pulled me to the side and talked to me and, gave me an opportunity to speak how I felt. And that's you know, a lot of kids don't feel like they have that opportunity. And they did that for me. And without them, I would have never made it through that program. But you just have to want better for yourself. I'm 31 years old now. I went to cosmetology school. I have two kids, 12-year-old son and a 7-year-old daughter. I'm a building supervisor at the aquarium in Virginia Beach. And, my own place and everything like that. So it's just, looking back on it now, if I could do it all over, none of what I went through, I would have went through. None of it. I would have been a lot smarter in the decisions that I made. I would have asked for help when I needed it. All the friends, so-called friends that I had at the time, I, those friends were nowhere around. After, when you get locked up, those friends aren't there because they're not locked up with you. When you're going to face that judge, those friends are not there with you. So I learned really quickly that following behind my friends was not necessarily such a great idea. I'm doing pretty good in life, and it might have taken me longer than others, but that's because of the decisions that I made when, I was a teenager. So there's people that were in that post-D program with me, or that were locked up in Chesterfield Juvenile Detention Home with me, that weren't as fortunate as I was, that are still in and out of jail. There's some that are in prison, and there are some that will be in prison for the rest of their life. I'm very fortunate not to have been one of them.